Hi and welcome everybody to episode 44 of the Talk is Cheap show. It's great to have you guys back. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate that. Hope you're all well, safe and COVID free. Thanks also to all of you guys for your messages relating to last week's show where we asked the question, do you think that Matthew, Guendouzi and Mesut Ozil respectively were being forced out of the club? Most of you agreed that they were. And secondly, we asked, do you think it was justified? And a lot of you felt that it wasn't justified, in particularly with regards to Ozil. You thought he'd been treated unfairly. So thanks again for all your comments and messages. We really do appreciate that. And we hope that you'll continue to send us in your messages and comments and whatever else you want to send us. It's great, man. Keep it coming. We've got another great show lined up for you this week. I hope you're going to like it. But before I go any further, it is my deepest pleasure and honor to introduce the big man, Mr. C. Curtis Shaw in the house from Curtis Shaw TV. What you saying, bro?
What's happening, bro? Trust the process.
Trust the process. What have you been up to, bro? Tell the people what you've been up to since we last spoke, or since the last show.
Same old, bro. You know, just putting out content on the channel. You know, the live watch along was it was a lively one, wasn't it? Against Liverpool, there's a lot going on. You know, still in the gym. Got to make the most of it before they lock everything off again. You know. Yeah,
and for those of you who don't know, Curtis plays for our football team. We've got a couple of games coming up. I know you got training tonight, actually. Tell the people about what we can expect in the next couple of weeks. We've got two big games coming up, AFTV FC.
Yeah, we're on the comeback trail. Obviously, we've hired yourself as director of football. You're like Don Laurie, Don Raoul, you know what I mean? But without the brown envelopes.
Well, you know what? I'm thinking of getting the cameras involved, man. Doing a little documentary, like in them, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Doc, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
man. Okay, moving on then to our news and notes segment of the show. I guess the story that's still continuing and still taking all the attention is the coronavirus thing. And since last week, there's been yet more developments, not good developments, actually. There's 4 cases on the rise. The government have introduced those stringent regulations, as we know, last week, but they're looking at increasing them, is what I'm seeing now. Across the country. They've scrapped the pilot scheme for bringing back the fans, and that's not going to happen now for at least another 6 months. So effectively ruling out fans for the current season, which is a real shame. And also we're seeing ramifications in terms of some of the smaller clubs possibly going out of business sooner rather than later. I know last week you spoke about Macclesfield, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've gone out.
And then since last week, we've heard of more clubs being under threat. I know that there's a meeting being scheduled for later this week with the Premier League and the FA to look at how they can assist the clubs. So that's a very worrying development.
Tough times.
Yeah, it's tough, man. But let's hope that we can get through it. Transfer update is another regular feature of our shows. What's the news this week? I think there's not that much going on at present, really, is there? Which is a bit worrying, given that the transfer window is a week or less than a week away.
Less than a week,
But I guess the story that was dominating in relation to transfers relating to Arsenal is the Houssem Aouar. It would appear that a bid has been tabled, a formal bid has now been tabled by Arsenal. Predictably, Leon down. They want in excess of £50 million for the player. Apparently, he does want to come to the club. And I'm also hearing that personal terms may or may not have been agreed. I'm not sure. I think they may have been agreed. It's looking optimistic that we may get him. But we're not quite there yet. What's your thoughts on that, Curtis?
I think we'll get this one done, to be fair. Their chairman, who's notorious in transfer negotiations, he actually did an interview yesterday where he said Arsenal offered 35 and they want at least 40 or 50 for him. So he seems to be lowering what he was asking for previously, because obviously the closer the window gets to closing, he may have to accept a lower offer because Lyon have got financial problems. So he also said any player that wants to leave the club has to have left by Friday to allow Leon a few days to try and replace whoever leaves. So Arsenal are going to have to get a move on. But I think this one may happen. I think we'll be able to get this one over the line, and he's needed as well. We'll go into that shortly.
Yeah, well, we'll keep your powder dry on that. I know you got some strong thoughts on that, but man. Listen, I'm going to keep it 100, man. I must admit, I was strongly pulling for Partey, although don't get me wrong, I like OR as well. But I'd like both.
100%.
In an ideal world, but unfortunately, we don't live in an ideal world, and it's beginning to look like it might be one or the other. Listen, if we get OR, I'll be made up about that. I would have preferred Partey due to his more perceived physicality. I think to do with that. But you know what? OR brings a lot to the table. So if we can get him, I'm cool with that. Let me just ask you, because I know the stories emerged last night, and again, I've seen it this morning, where there's talk, quite strong talk actually, that one of your favourite players.
Are you sure about that?
So Mustafi to Lazio. What's your thoughts on that one? Have you heard that rumour?
Yeah, I saw it on Sky Sports as well. Listen, man. I mean, what can you say? We spent 35 million on him. I think we can safely say it hasn't worked. I mean, I don't know what the price is, but he's got a year left on his deal. As soon as possible, make it happen, man. Again, I don't question his commitment. He's always given everything, but his everything hasn't been good enough ultimately. So, yeah, thanks, but no thanks, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The situation is that Arsenal, it would appear anyway, desperately need to get players out in order to get their desired targets in. And, you know, Mustafi, like you said, man, he's a committed player. There's nothing at all wrong with his attitude and his heart, but it's whether he's been good enough. And we have to say that up until now, perhaps not. Well, not maybe, not perhaps, he hasn't. But, you know, we'll keep an eye on that one and see how it goes. But yeah, man, okay, thanks for that. Moving on again then to our game review.
Oh.
Well, let's start cooking, bro. You know what I mean? And also, this game review kind of synchronizes nicely into the main discussion of the show this week, which was following on from the game against Liverpool. I'm asking the question, were we given a red awakening? Not rude awakening, a red awakening. So, yeah, so the game against Liverpool, our first big test of the season, Liverpool away. We previously made a very good start. 2 games, 2 wins. But last night was always going to tell us a lot about exactly where we are as a club right now. In previous meetings against Liverpool, we hadn't done that well at all. Liverpool had won, I think it was 5 league games at home against us straight. So it was always going to be difficult. Liverpool also haven't lost a Premier League game at home since I think it was 2017.
2017, yeah.
Yeah, so it was always going to be a very difficult game. So let's start cooking. Team selection. When you saw the team yesterday, what was your thoughts?
Wrong team. Wrong team selection. First of all, Gabriel, been our best defender so far this season. We got him ahead of Man United and Napoli. He's come in, he's settled, he's looked better each game, and you drop him. What is the reason? I don't understand why he didn't play yesterday. And I think we missed him. We missed his physical presence and his aggression. You see Salah roughed up Tierney for the first goal. Holding got terrorised. Gabriel should have started. No question about it. I think every Arsenal fan was wondering why he wasn't on the pitch.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, listen, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I was we did a watch along, as you know. Shout out to all the people who supported the watch along.
Yeah,
support on that, appreciate it. And as soon as I saw the team sheet, my thoughts were echoed what you just said. And in fact, I voiced that to the guys last night. I said, why is there no Gabriel? He should be playing. And the arguments that were being put forward by Robbie, DT, Troops, and not so much Troops, but Robbie and DT and 1 or 2 others was that There was two, was it right-footed or left?
You left-footed players in the
Yeah,
back three.
yeah.
Buy that one.
Which, okay, you can make that argument, but come on, man. I mean, Gabriel, you know, big money signing. He's come in, he's done great. Surely these are the games that he's relished playing in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I could not understand that, you know what I mean? Holding, and let's be honest, Holding has improved over the course of time, and he has been decent. But these are the types of games where you're looking at people like Gabriel to really make their mark.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any real justifiable reason for leaving him out.
No.
I also have to say, when I looked at the midfield,
Oh.
and I saw that we were lining up with Xhaka
And El Neni.
El Messi,
The dream team.
known as El Neni.
Yeah.
Joking aside, I did think we were basically saying to Liverpool, look, you have the possession. We're coming here to avoid defeat. And if we can nick a win, then yeah. But that's what it kind of screamed at to me. What did you think when you saw it?
I mean, listen, that midfield, for some reason, some people have hyped these guys up. El Neni had 2 bad years. He comes back and has 2 good games, and all of a sudden, I'll give him another chance. Granit Xhaka has been at the club, 4 years? We know he's not the answer, but because he improved under Arteta, he's the answer. He's not good enough. If Arsenal Football Club, where we want to go is where the opposition were yesterday. We want to be where Liverpool are, top of the league like we used to be. Our midfield is so far away from theirs in terms of quality. It's frightening. Bear in mind, they didn't have Thiago yet playing, who's probably their best ball-playing midfielder. They didn't have Henderson, who's their captain. And we still weren't able to expose them in any way. Now, Ceballos should have started. He came on. He was the best player in our team yesterday. He played for, 30 minutes? Played a great through ball to Lacazette. Played a great ball over the top to Aubameyang. He put tackles in. You know, he actually got booked. He showed more passion as a guy on loan than a lot of players who've been at the club for a long time. I don't know if any of you guys heard Hector Bellerin's interview after that game. Honestly, I could not believe what this guy was saying. He said it's normal to go to Anfield and lose. So you're basically accepting that you're going to lose the game. He said, that's what he said, honestly. He said, we're now a team that wants to win every game. So are you telling me that before Arteta was the manager, you didn't want to win every game? Like, what kind of mentality is that? And that kind of mentality is what Arteta's got to work against, because some of these guys that they haven't got winning mentality. When their back's against the wall, they're not really it, man. I mean, you got Hector Bellerin doing foul throws. You got Pepe taking corners that are rolling on the floor. It's basics, and we're a long way off it. And in defense of Arteta, although I felt he picked the wrong team and some of his substitutions were a little bit, the board have got to wake up and realise that if they don't back him, we're going to have another long and difficult season in the Premier League, because there are massive weaknesses in our team that need to be addressed. And the fact we've even left it to the last week of the transfer window, to me, it tells you how, reactive this board is. And they need to spend big in this final week.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think the one thing Arteta would have taken that from that game of any positive note is that he'll be able to go in with some conviction this morning and say to the likes of Edu, which I'm sure Edu's probably not the problem, actually.
Nah.
Say to some of them other guys on the board, last night was the reason why we need to strengthen this team, because I'm sure that Arteta's been set targets by the board, and I'm sure that those targets are probably quite, stretch targets.
Yeah.
That he's been told that we want Champions League football.
Yeah.
If I'm Arteta, I'm going into those guys this morning. I'm saying, listen, man, if we're going to reach those targets that you've set, you have got to back me.
Yeah.
Not with words, but with money, real money, man. You guys have got to put your hand in your pocket, man, and come out with some money. You know what I mean? Because
100.
it was just shown last night.
Yeah.
It was evident for everyone to see that we're still short. Now, I give Arteta a lot of credit because he's doing the best job he can with the players he has at his disposal. But it's very difficult with what he's got to work with. I mean, like you, I was appalled at some of the stuff I saw yesterday, man. I mean, let's take that Bellerin, the foul throws for him. You know what really shocked me about that? Apart from the fact that the guy didn't know how to execute. I mean, come on. Was the fact that this guy had the temerity to be arguing with a referee. He actually said, it was lip read, I've thrown like this all my life.
That sums him up, man.
Incriminating your own self because they were flagrant. We were in the watch-alongs, and I think DT, he jumped out of his seat on the second one. The man was going apoplectic. You know what I mean? Like you said, when Pepe, and I'm going to come on to him later, man. When he come on, man, he was awful. I mean, you know, everyone who watches this show, right? And you know, and everybody that knows me, I'm a big fan of Pepe. You know what I mean? I've been following his progress from when he was in France, and you see all the stuff on the internet and all the tricks and so forth. But this guy's got to get his finger out, man. Seriously, because I didn't like his body language when he came on. And then, you know, there were crucial moments in that game where, we're behind, we need to get back in the game. We get a corner, which is the equivalent of a set piece nowadays, yeah? And he's called upon to deliver that ball. And, you know what I mean? I think one of them bounced twice before it got to the...
Oh, my days.
Bro, it's not.
It's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. You know what I mean?
You know the crazy thing, Laurie, right? Now, listen, going to Liverpool at Anfield and getting beat is not like, it's not the end of the world. Oh, you know, obviously we wanted to win, but they're far better than us at the moment. So even losing the game is not the thing that bothered me as much. It was the fact, number one, I never felt like during that 90 minutes that I felt like we was a team really trying to win that game. I felt like we were just trying to shut them out of the game. Now, when you see Leeds go there, score 3 goals, have 52% possession, and really have a go and put Liverpool under pressure, that's the kind of performance I expected to see from Arsenal. You know, people are talking about Arteta's got his hands tied, this, that, the other. Our attacking lineup is very expensive. Our attackers are more expensive than Liverpool's. If you look at Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe, they cost more than Firmino, Mane and Salah. So it's not like we haven't got attacking players that can do damage. I know people will point to Mane. Maybe Mane should have been sent off. That was, you know, that should have been looked at. Jota as well is a definite handball on the 3rd goal. But more worrying for me, I think, I don't like to blame referees too much. I think you can question their decisions, of course. And if Mane's sent off, it does change the game. But ultimately, I like to look at our team and what we did right and wrong. And I just think I didn't like the attitude going into the game. It was almost like we just gave up and we were hanging on. We camped on the edge of our own box. You know, we barely had a shot on goal, really. You know, Van Dijk could have took his shirt off and hung it up and just said, see you Saturday. You ain't even got to wash that. I haven't even broken sweat. Do you know what I mean? And I just felt like I wanted to see more ambition in the performance from us, and I didn't see that.
Yeah, I mean, you're right to raise that. I mean, let's pull up some receipts from last night's game. I made a note of it. Last night, Liverpool had 21 shots on goal to our 4, which, you know, 4 shots. I mean, like you gave the Leeds example. That's not good enough, is it? Let's be honest. No. Liverpool had a staggering 66% possession rate to our 34%.
Yeah.
Liverpool completed 772 passes compared to our 395. And perhaps more worrying is that I was looking at some other stats, is that so far this season, Arsenal have only produced 24 shots on goal in all their games.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, West Bromwich Albion have a lower rate than that, you know?
Wow.
So that begs the question, are we becoming a counter-attacking team?
Yep. Yeah, no, and you're right to raise that, because I know Arteta's trying to, you know, he's trying to plug gaps in the defence and the team, but this three at the back, ultimately you're playing with 5 defenders, 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs. So you've got more, you've got half your team is defensive. If you include the goalkeeper, you've got 6 defensive players on the pitch. Now, you don't need to do that every game. And I almost think the problem is now we're becoming very predictable. You can predict before the game starts, Arsenal will play 3 centre-backs. They're going to take Lacazette off for Nketiah after about 70 minutes. They're going to take Willian off for Pepe.
To be fair to me, I think it was 60 yesterday. But anyway.
All right, so he got 10 minutes quicker this week. You know what I mean, man? And there's just glaring weaknesses in our team. Hector Bellerin, he's lucky to still be at the club. Granit Xhaka. Ainsley was really poor as well against, it's difficult, but I think he needs to go back to 4 at the back. I got to be honest. I think 3 at the back got us through the end of last season in the FA Cup, and we played some difficult teams, but I don't think this 3 at the back is a long-term formation for us. You look at yesterday, they pressed us so high, and we were so ignorant that we just tried to play out the back every single time. And we nearly got caught so many times on the ball. Sometimes mix it up a little bit. I mean, you saw Brendan Rodgers talk about Leicester when they went to Man City. He said, I'm such an attacking manager. He said he found it very difficult to go to Manchester City and play with a different style. But he said, I had to do it because if I just played my way, Man City would have exposed us. So as a manager, sometimes you've got to get over yourself a little bit and say, you know what, I know this is my style, but I may have to adjust it for certain games. And I feel like Arteta's just playing the same way every game, and we're becoming a little bit predictable. Why does Aubameyang never go through the middle towards the end of a game? If Aubameyang gets that Lacazette chance, what he missed, I'm almost certain Aubameyang would have scored that.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
there was a controversial moment in that game, a possible changing moment. I think it was only after about 3 minutes as well.
Yeah,
where Mane and Tierney were going for the ball, and you can quite clearly see Mane extend his elbow into the face of Tierney. I mean, I've seen some people, Emil Heskey on TV today, saying that it wasn't a red card because he was basically challenging for the ball, and it's natural for a striker to use his elbow in that way to just try and brush the guy off. But I'm not convinced about that at all. Looking at it at the time and again today, I thought that was a sending off. What did you think?
Yeah, you know what? I look, because at first I didn't really see it properly, and then I saw it again after the game. He's not really a malicious player naturally, but he leads with the elbow and he catches him in the face. So I don't think it's about intention or not. If you put a tackle in and go for the ball and you catch someone with your studs, they'll send you off. I think the fact he caught him with his elbow in the face, I think it should have been a red card. And I have to ask the question, why was VAR? Why did they not look at it? The referee made the decision. Why did someone not say to him, do you know what? I think you should go and take a look at that because that's a possible red card. Mane gets sent off after that amount of time. It's a different game. So, but Arsenal, we always seem to get hard done by the FA. It's very frustrating. Again, I don't want to make that as the excuse because I still think the performance was poor. But without Mane on the pitch and 10 men, that could be a different result. And I think we got hard done by there.
And it was interesting that it was Mane who got the first goal, you know. On that whole sending off debate, I personally thought it was a straight red.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you said he's not vindictive or that type of player, but then, you know, we can go back to last season against Crystal Palace. No one, even Arsenal's biggest enemies, could say that Aubameyang's a vindictive or a nasty, dirty player. And he went straight red. You know what I mean? Okay, the two incidents were different, and you have to judge things on their merits. But, you know, to me, that was definitely a red card yesterday from Mane.
Yeah.
I do think we're entitled to feel hard done by. And I would give Arteta a lot of credit. Unlike some managers, like the one down the road, not too far from where who seek to make a lot of excuses. He didn't use that as an excuse once. Neither did he incidentally try to throw Lacazette under the bus by saying scored and stuff like that. So I was quite impressed with that. And he did say, what he did say is that yesterday showed us that I think he said somewhere like we're 5 years behind Liverpool. So you know what, I think he's accurate on that.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the point I was making about the board needing to back Arteta if we're going to do anything this season of note. They're going to need to back him. It's a simple, you know.
Was you disappointed with the way we played? Like, don't you think we was a little bit too respectful towards it?
I thought we were a bit too passive, yeah. And I think that is indicative of the team sheet. As soon as I saw the team sheet, because I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, okay, El Messi, formerly known as El Nini, he's had a good start. He's been very dependable. But, you know, it goes back to what I was saying in previous shows. You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. El Messi, formerly known as El Nini, I'm going to stop saying that now. He is who he is, yeah? He's been playing well so far. Him alongside Xhaka, you're not going to get that level of creativity.
Yeah.
Which you need. If you're going to go to Liverpool, you've got to try and create something and try and be a bit more positive.
Yeah.
You're just going to set up very solidly and hope against hope. But if you're going to go there and try and win, you need to have the players in that team that can make things happen. So I was disappointed to see the likes of Ceballos on the bench. And you saw the difference he made when he came on. So,
to be fair to El Neni, he was actually better than Xhaka. I think Xhaka was that a lot. Yeah.
Although it could also be levels of expectation. So it could be looking at Xhaka to try and make those defense splitting passes rather than El Neni. The perception of El Neni is when he gets a ball, he's just going to do the simple things, win it and do, which, you know, he did. He played well. However, you know, when you're up against teams like Liverpool, it's not West Ham and Fulham we're talking about.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you, for that first goal, do you think, like me, that Leno could have done a bit better than that?
He could he could have done a lot better with that. And I hate to say it again, but
you're going to say it.
I am going to say it. Would Emi Martinez have done better with that? Because to me, and I know I sound like a broken record, I would not have sold him. I think he should have been given the number 1 shirt and it should have been said, Leno, you've got to get him back out of the team because Leno's got big flaws in his game. Don't get me wrong. He's a very good goalkeeper. Even last night, he made some good saves. But, you know, when the crosses come in, he looks shaky. He's kicking the ball out for a throw-in when he's trying to find players. And I'm sorry, that shot from Salah was not a hard, powerful rocket that he had to, you know, it was a little quick side foot shot. It should have been palmed further away. He just palms it there for Mane to tap in. And I think he should have done a lot better with it.
Yeah, I must admit, I have to agree with that. I thought he could have caught it.
Do you?
Yeah, well, okay. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh by saying that to him. And it's no disrespect to Leno because I really rate him.
Yeah, he is a good keeper.
But I have to say that when I saw it back again, like you said, it wasn't a particularly hard strike.
No.
I've seen it suggested that the positioning of his hands was in the wrong place. So that by the time he could get himself into the proper position, he was basically spinning the ball away from his face.
Yeah.
1 or 2 people are saying he should have been perhaps a bit more proactive. Listen, man, I've never been a goalkeeper, so I don't know the technical ins and outs. But it just looked to me, just to the naked eye, it looked to me like he could have done better with that one.
Yeah.
And what was disappointing about that goal is that, let's be honest, when Lacazette scored, which was a miss it, by the way.
Yeah.
So he, in front of goal yesterday, he definitely didn't have one of his better days. Even his goal, miss it. But okay, we score a goal. It's against the run of play. Big style, because I've got to be honest, man, they were really coming for us at that time. So we get a goal. It's against the run of play. You're hoping that the likes of David Luiz and 1 or 2 others are going to get hold of the team now and say, listen, man, let's concentrate. Let's make sure that we stay solid. You know what I mean? Keep them out. Keep them guessing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We go and concede. I think we scored, was it the 25th minute or something like that? 3 minutes later, we contrived to give away that goal. So all that good work that we did is all for nothing.
Yeah.
And I must admit, as soon as that goal went in, man, I was starting to fear the worst.
Of course.
You know, it was very disappointing.
And you know what? For Liverpool, who are a team that usually when they score, I mean, you look at the Chelsea game, they opened Chelsea up with great football. You look at the goals they scored against us, they weren't great goals. They're proper sloppy goals, like a shot, the keeper palms it out, and the first one crossed it in. Robertson's chesting the ball down 7 yards out, a goal unmarked. It's absolute schoolboy defending. It's not like they played great football. And that's what really bothers me with Arsenal. We just hand out goals to people, and no one don't hand out nothing to us. So that's what's so frustrating, man. But it's going to take time.
The interesting about that is that I came across yet another stat yesterday, which says that since Arteta took over in December, Arsenal have given away more points from winning positions than any other team in the Premier League.
I saw that, yeah, 18 points. Very damning. Very.
And it kind of goes against this kind of resilience that we're always talking about that he's managed to imbue into the club.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I titled the show, Was This a Red, playing on the word, rude awakening? You know what I mean? Because I kind of think it was. Yeah. Although I don't want to throw him under the bus too much, man, because, you know, we can all see that there have been green shoots. We have made strides and improvement. So I'm not going to just throw it all down the pan on one performance. But I do think that yesterday, man, was a true indicator of where we are. And we're not there yet, man. You know what I mean? Based on what I saw yesterday. I mean, I know it's early days.
Yeah.
You look at some of the other teams around us, man. I mean, even though some of them have not been playing great, but you saw Leicester. You've seen Chelsea. They're going to strengthen. City are going to strengthen, you know. So,
I suppose the positive way to try and look at it, if we can, is I suppose look at 2-1. If Lacazette scores that chance, it's 2-2. Maybe it's a different game. Also look at the fact, you know, we've still got Gabriel, Saliba to add to that defense. Hopefully we get Aouar and Partey, at least one of those two, and maybe change the formation slightly, and hopefully then we become a better side. I suppose at the moment we're not really looking at Liverpool. Liverpool are way ahead of us. I suppose taking a step forward is just, can we get in that top four? Can we get fourth or third? You've seen United lose to Palace. Chelsea lost to Liverpool, drew with West Brom. Tottenham have had a shaky start. No one really looks that great at the moment. So hopefully, you know, we can close the gap and get in that top four. I think Liverpool are a long way away from us at the moment.
You know what? You make an excellent point. I think the one consolation you can take away from, and I think Mikel Arteta alluded to that when he said that Liverpool were, at least 5 years ahead of the game.
Yeah,
5 years behind them. And I think he wasn't speaking out of turn there. I think that was accurate, you know what I mean? Because we are yesterday showed that we are quite some way behind them. But then you're right, some of the other teams are not looking particularly great at the moment either. So that does give us some encouragement.
Yeah.
But I reiterate, man, the board are going to have to step up.
They have to.
You know? Yeah, so finally, what would be your final overview of that game?
Not a nice performance at all, I suppose. Like I said, if you're Arteta, you're looking at a few incidents that might have changed the game, a red card, a Lacazette goal. So in that sense, Arteta might not be as disappointed as we were, because, you know, a lot of Arsenal fans are very angry with that performance. But I suppose moving forward, you look at, you know, at least we've played them early on. We've got it out of the way. Got a week left of the transfer window, you know, because the thing is, if we draw that game, all of a sudden the board might have turned around to Arteta and said, you know what, you don't really need Partey, you know, your team looks all right. So in that sense, you know, trying to draw a positive from a negative, at least Arteta can say, look, like you said to the board, you can't leave me with this midfield. I have to spend money. So, you know, I'm still hopeful moving forward, but a lot will depend on that window. If that window closes and we do no more business, I'm not sure we're good enough to get in the top 4. If we get 1 or 2 of those in, then we've got a chance and we've got something to believe in. So it'd be an interesting week.
I think you've articulated that perfectly, and I endorse every word you say there. So thank you very much for that. So moving on then to our Ops of the Week. And of course, that's the beauty of football, isn't it? Because the games come along thick and fast. And so this week, actually, we get another opportunity against Liverpool and a chance to avenge our loss when we play them again in the Carabao Cup. Now, I'll tell you what's interesting about this game will be the team selection.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing how that one pans out, because let's face it, we spoke earlier about him, the likes of Pepe, Ainsley Maitland-Niles and 1 or 2 others, man, they did not cover. I've got to say as well, your boy Willian, he wasn't very good.
No, he had a very poor game, man. He looked a bit old, you know what I mean?
No, I don't want to say that too quick, man. Because listen, he had 2 decent games. He was outstanding in the first game, and he had a decent game against West Ham.
Yeah, man.
The games against Liverpool are the games that we almost want him to show what player was, and he wasn't, for whatever reason yesterday. He just wasn't able to get into.
But then no one really did they?
Yeah, you're right on that. But yeah, so this Carabao Cup game, we're through to the next round, having beaten Leicester in the previous round, which I thought was a very good performance. Yeah. So we don't want to throw it all away now. You know, if we can beat Liverpool in the next round, it would be a good win. Yeah. And they're coming off the back of a pretty. I saw their win against Lincoln in the previous round, 7-2 away from home, and they've got some good young players. In particular, the guy Curtis Jones.
Yeah, very good.
But yeah, so I think that's going to be another hard-fought, well-contested game, and I'm looking forward to see who starts. I mean, presumably our friends Ozil and Guendouzi are not going to figure, are they? Or are they?
No, I don't think they will.
Left field and feature.
I don't think they will. It'll be like you said, the team selection. I think it will be similar to the team that played Leicester. So I think you'll see Nelson and Ketia. I think Pepe will play. Maybe Saliba comes in. I actually think it's quite an important game, because I think when you're developing a team and you're trying to rebuild, I think, you know, winning a trophy gives it a massive boost. We saw what the FA Cup did. You know, the FA Cup basically rescued our season. It was a disaster apart from that. That got us back into Europe. It got us lifting a trophy. I'm sure that had something to do with Aubameyang re-signing as well, lifting silverware. Sure. I don't think Klopp will put many of his first team players out. I think it'll be a very young team. I think, you know, if we can beat them, that's one of the best teams in the competition out of it. So I really hope we win this game. And, you know, it's like you said, we've been talking about Pepe. I've been disappointed in what's happened with him this season, because I actually felt he finished the season well in the FA Cup, and those games he played really well. Arteta, you know, a lot of Man City wingers were saying how influential he was in working with wide players. And I was excited about signing Willian, because I felt Willian would play number 10 with Pepe on the right. But having brought Willian in and played him right wing every game, I kind of look at that now and think, I don't understand why you did that. Why would you play a 32-year-old over a 24-year-old record signing? And you're just killing this man's confidence. Yeah. And you can see every time he comes on. I mean, some of it is his fault as well. When you come on, you need to do what Ceballos did. Don't sulk, get your head down, prove the manager wrong. But at the same time, you need the manager to help you. You need belief when you're adjusting to a new country and a new team. So, you know, this may be an opportunity for Pepe to play well, but we have to, you know, people are saying Arteta's getting the most out of this team, but I would look at Pepe and say, you're not managing him very well at the moment, and you need to get more out of him.
You see, this is why we got you on the show, Curtis, because, you know, once again, excellent analysis there. And I agree with all of that. I mean, listen, people who know me will know that I'm a paid-up member of the Pepe fan club. But no, I mean, on a serious note, I do like the player. I've rated him even before we signed him.
Yeah.
However, we have to be honest and say that during his tenure so far, he's not lived up to expectation. And I don't want to make too many excuses for him, but I think that one of the issues with Pepe is that he's not been given enough game time. And I think that was evident last night. When he come on, he looked off the pace. And you made the point about he needs to show a bit more hunger in the same way Ceballos did. And I get that. But if you're continually coming off the bench with 17, 18, maximum 20 minutes to go, you haven't got a massive window in which to affect the game.
No.
You know what I mean? And people are going to be expecting you to affect the game because of the price tag and the reputation and all the rest of it. So there is that pressure on him. And I would like to see him get more starts. And I'm with you as well on the Willian thing. I thought Willian might be deployed in a slightly more different role. I mean, there's a need in the team for creativity. So why couldn't yesterday Willian have adopted a more creative role in the team, and then you could have still shoehorned Pepe into the side?
Yeah.
So I do have some empathy for him in that regard. But I have to say, man, that when he came on, especially when you're looking for somebody of his ability and talent to make a positive contribution, and he had such a poor... I mean, there was a few occasions on there where there weren't even 50-50s. There were 60-40s in his favour, and he just got brushed off the ball. And I'm like, bro, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is not good enough, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. At the very least, you got to look like you won it.
Yep.
And then, of course, like I said, the two corners, I think the second corner which he took was so limp that it actually ended up in the Liverpool transitioning into attack. They nearly scored from it. Can you imagine what would have happened that they scored from it? I mean...
Oh, no, it was disappointing, man.
On, again, in that Carabao Cup game. And not just play, he's got to impress.
Yeah.
He's got to be making a statement to the manager and saying, look, you need to play me because I'm good enough to be starting, because I think he is.
Yeah.
So you're saying that Guendouzi and Ozil then?
No, I don't think until if the window closes and they're both at the club, you may start seeing them involved. But I don't see them kicking a ball for us until, I think the window closes next week. So I don't see them playing any part until the window's closed.
What about the goalie, Runarsson? He should start, shouldn't he?
Yeah, you would think so. I expected him to start the game against Leicester. Maybe because he'd only just signed at the time, they didn't want to play him. But yeah, you've signed him. I want to see what he's about, man. Give Leno a night off and let's see what he's about, man. Back at Anfield, hopefully it'll be an easier team to play against. But they actually knocked us out of this last season with a young team on penalties. So... But yeah, I hope we win. I'd like to see us win this trophy, man. I think, we're not going to win the Premier League. So we've only really got 3 trophies to win: the Carabao, the FA Cup and the Europa League. So I wouldn't mind us winning this.
I'm with you on that. I think if you're Arteta and you're trying to cultivate a winning mentality, these cups do take on some importance.
Yeah.
And so I see some of the managers are being a bit side-eyed, saying, trying to pretend like they're not taking it seriously, the likes of Jose saying, oh, this and that. But deep down, they will be in the same position as us, and they would want to win that trophy. City won it last year. They won it the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So if they can, for a team like City, address it with importance, why shouldn't we?
Exactly.
So, I'm looking forward to the game, actually. I think it'll be a good game. It'll be an entertaining game. Probably be a high-scoring game. I'm going to press you for a prediction. What do you say?
Do you know what I was thinking about this? I was thinking, because Thiago didn't play for Liverpool yesterday, as Klopp saved him for Thursday, thinking, you know what, I need a few big hitters in the Carabao Cup team. So maybe Liverpool will pick a slightly stronger team than expected. But I'll go for 2-1 because I think we'll still have quite a strong team out for a Carabao Cup level. I think Pepe and people like that will play. We did well against Leicester. So I'll go for 2-1 Arsenal.
Right, okay. Yeah, I think it'll be a high-intensity game, an entertaining game. I think there'll be goals. I'm going for 3-2 Arsenal.
Yeah.
Pepe to get the winner.
Let's hope so, man. He needs something. He needs a moment that brings him back.
Yeah, I'm almost starting to feel a bit sorry for him, man. He looks a bit forlorn. When he come on yesterday, he had that kind of look on his face, like, "Oh, what you're bringing me on now?" You know what I mean? It just
Premier League's unforgiving, man. You can't feel sorry for yourself, man. He needs to do the talking with his football. You know what I mean, and
yeah, you're
fight
absolutely.
his way back into the team.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So moving on then, another big game, a Premier League game at the weekend. Sheffield United at
Yeah,
home.
big game.
Perhaps not as difficult as a Liverpool game, but difficult in other ways. I mean, coming into this game, look, Sheffield United have been on a poor run of form, haven't they, really?
Yeah.
Lost their games. I don't think they've scored a goal yet.
No.
Your mate, Eddie McGoldrick, your brethren, you know what I mean? You'll have to keep that same energy going.
Yeah, because I'm in it. Because last year when I was speaking to him, the man had hella confidence going into the game.
He scored against us in the cup, didn't he?
Yeah, he scored, didn't he? Yeah, he did.
If I remember rightly, he was a real handful in that game, man.
He was, yeah. He's a good player there. I mean, I think they've dropped him for 1 or 2 games.
Yeah,
fans have been moaning about it, but he signed a new contract. But yeah, they've started the season quite bad. And I think, if I remember, I think we drew and lost to them in the league last season. So we had a difficult time against them. But maybe that second season thing sort of kicking in for them. They haven't really strengthened either. And they don't look quite as threatening as they was last season. But however, it'll still be a difficult game because they're a team that really get in your face. They try and rough you up a little bit. But I believe there's an international break after this game. So I think it's so important that we go into that break with a victory because, I mean, I don't want to look too far ahead, but after the international break, our first game back is Man City away. Now, having just lost to Liverpool in the league, and with Man City away coming up, we can't afford a draw or a defeat against Sheffield United. That needs to be a win. So this is a very important game for us coming up.
I mean, for Sheffield United, it's almost a free hit for them because they're not expected to win in any event.
No.
And like you said, they've been on a poor run of form. They haven't scored a goal. So we are very firm favourites for that game. Having said that, Sheffield United, they've been a little bit unlucky. I saw the game against Leeds. They had their moments in that game.
Yeah.
And let's face it, they're going to come to our place with a game plan. They're well-managed, well-coached side, very physical. They'll be organised. They'll be tough to break down and quite dangerous on set pieces. So we'll need to be watchful. I would imagine that Gabriel will come straight back in. What do you think?
Yeah, he will. Which just makes you question again why he didn't play the last game. But yeah, I'm sure he will come back in. I actually think there's an argument now that should Tierney be playing wing back rather than as one of the 3 centre backs? You know what I mean? Because he's got such a good left foot and he is a natural fullback. So wing back and fullback is quite similar, where centre back is a little bit different. So I would make an argument for possibly moving Tierney to left wing back. I mean, I actually would like to see us play 4 at the back in that game. I don't think at home against a team that hasn't scored all season, you need 5 defenders on the pitch. Play 4 at the back and be a little bit more positive, you know?
Yeah. If we adopt counter-attacking tactics at home to, and no disrespect to a Sheffield United team that are not at the moment on top of their game, I think that would be a very poor reflection. And I can't see Mikel Arteta doing that. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in midfield. I would imagine Tobias will come straight back in.
Yeah.
I was looking at Tobias' body language yesterday. The way he was charging into a couple of them tackles yesterday had me kind of thinking that maybe he was quite upset at being left out in the first place.
Yeah, but he used it in the right way. He used it.
You know, so he's got to come straight back in. I was impressed with him last night.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, who would you play him with? Because Xhaka was worse than El Neni, but then Ceballos had that decent partnership with Xhaka at the end of the season. So
I think it's fair to say that El Neni is going to be the one sacrificed.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to do him a disservice. I'm just keeping it 100. You know, it would appear that he would be the one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that game. It's a must-win game, like you say. I think we're all in it. Let me press you for a prediction on that game.
I'll go for 3-1.
3-1. So you're going to
3-1 win.
Show a bit of bias for your brethren, McGoldrick.
Yeah, he might nick one.
I'm going for a 2-0.
2-0.
I think Laka and Ober's, he's gone a couple of games now without goals.
Yeah, I mean, he better not be doing an Ozil, sign the contract and then your performances just go downhill quick. But no, I think Aubameyang's due a goal. Hopefully he gets one.
But you know what? You said something earlier that really kind of piqued my interest there, because I had a similar thought myself. And that is that, okay, we know that Aubameyang's out wide on the left. But if you do make that predictable 75th minute change, and you take Laka off, why not put Aubameyang through the middle and let one of the other guys occupy the wing spot? I mean, because like you said, those chances come to Aubameyang, man. I'm very confident that he's going to take them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I feel a bit sorry for him, man. He was just languishing on the wing yesterday.
I mean, people talk about Aubameyang and they say, because I've said this a number of times, and they go, oh, he can't play with his back to goal and this, that, the other. I say, you do realise this is the Aubameyang that the year before we signed him scored 39 goals in Germany. He scored more goals than Robert Lewandowski that year, who's, Lewandowski's probably the best striker in the world now. So this whole thing that Aubameyang can't play central is a myth. It's an absolute myth. He can play through the middle. And I'm not saying play him there all the time, but don't be so predictable with it, man. And like you said, against Liverpool, Aubameyang hardly got a kick. Maybe we should have moved him central and played with two wingers rather than bringing Eddie on. Because let's face it, Eddie ain't getting no work out of Van Dijk. You know what I'm saying, bro? So
that's the usual Curtis Shaw forthright opinion that we come to know and love.
Big up Eddie.
Engaging semantics, but for your saying predictable, I'm going to say that perhaps the manager needs to be a bit more creative and sometimes just introduce some other little things into the pot that might give us the edge, So, that what we spoke about there about sometimes playing Aubameyang, if you're going to take Lacazette off, play Aubameyang through the middle, and maybe let Eddie or somebody else occupy the wing spots, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that means that he's still getting service. You haven't got to go the same way all the time. But anyway, we're coming to the end of the show now, and I've really enjoyed the show. I've really enjoyed into your forthright and very upfront opinions about the performance. And I do think it was a bit of a red awakening, as I'm sure you do. So it'll be interesting to hear what the viewers out there, tell us what you think. Do you think that yesterday told us where we are as a club and where we're going? Do you think, like me and Curtis, think that the board need to, get their wallets out and really make a statement of intent and get in the likes of OR and Partey, you know what I mean? Get both of them in, not just one. We need both of them. One for the creative element and one for the defensive midfield element, that presence in there. We need that, man. The board need to start backing the manager, you know what I mean? You're hanging him out to dry a little bit. So, let us know what you know. Tell us what you think. And thanks for watching. We appreciate all the messages. We're trying to keep the show as interactive as we possibly can. Curtis, tell the people where they can find you, bro.
Yeah, check out the channel, Curtis Shaw TV. Lots of content on there. And, hopefully a better performance at Anfield on Thursday, man. Hopefully we get a win. Thank you very much. And just finally, thanks again for all the messages of support. Want your comments. Don't forget to download the Flick app. Plenty of excellent content on there. Keep yourselves healthy, safe, COVID-free. Observe the government regulations so we can kick this coronavirus out of existence, hopefully. And look forward to seeing you guys next week. Appreciate it.
It's Robbie here from AFTV. Don't forget to check out AFTV on Flick for all the latest transfer rumours, for all the information on Arsenal, for all the information on AFTV. You can check me there for Q&As on a regular basis. The link is in the description. It is free to download. Download it right now.